Good evening. This is the UEFA Champions League, and it's game day coming from the UEFA Champions League this evening. And of course, we've got some interesting lineup of fixtures for us in the UEFA Champions League at this point in time. At the Johan Cruyff Arena, there is Ajax against Olympiacos by 9 p.m. We've also got AS Monaco, who will be in action against Juventus later on tonight as well. And Arsenal against Kairat in the UEFA Champions League at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal, on the back of that 3-2 loss to Manchester United on Sunday in the English Premier League. So this will be interesting. For Arsenal, they've gotten 7 maximum wins from 7 games in the UEFA Champions League, and they've gotten 21 points as well coming from the UEFA Champions League at this point in time. So let's wait to see what happens in the game against Kairat later on today. In Basque, there is Athletic Bilbao will be in action against Sporting CP. Sporting CP applies their trade in the Portuguese league, but of course they will be in action in Spain later tonight. In Spain as well, we've got Atletico de Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano. They will be in action against the Norwegian Giants in Bodo Glimt. Remember, the last game Bodo Glimt played in UEFA Champions League was a 3-1 victory over Pep Guardiola. So Pep Guardiola's side finds themselves in a very, very difficult situation at this point in time because of that loss to Bodo Glimt last time out in the UEFA Champions League. There is Barcelona later on today, as they will also take on Danish side FC Copenhagen, and this one is going to happen at the Spotify Camp Nou. At the Bayer Arena, we're also going to see Bayer Leverkusen. They will be in action against Villarreal. For Villarreal, they are with a one of the whooping team in the UEFA Champions League this season. If you look at what they've actually done in the Spanish La Liga this season, by the last game they played against Real Madrid during the weekend, where Real Madrid actually defeated them by 2-0. Villarreal in the UEFA Champions League have actually had abysmal performances. It hasn't been a good performance for Villarreal in the UEFA Champions League at this point in time. But of course, they take on Bayer Leverkusen, who also wish to see if they can actually make it to the playoff spot. Well, they are currently 20th on the log. That's Bayer Leverkusen with 9 points, and so there's a possibility of them making it to the playoff of the UEFA Champions League, and that's why tonight's game will be interesting. So we'll be updating you of what is going to happen. 9 p.m. kickoff time in the UEFA Champions League, and this is what we're going to be doing today. In 20 minutes, the game will go down, and so we expect actions in the UEFA Champions League. Benfica at the Stadio de la Luz will welcome Real Madrid. You know what that means? Jose Mourinho will be facing his former side in Real Madrid. Now, this is where it gets interesting for this game. Benfica have gotten 6 points. 6 points in the UEFA Champions League for this game. And they take on Real Madrid, who have also been, so good in the UEFA Champions League. Real Madrid are currently third. They've gotten 15 points in this one. That's Real Madrid. So we could say that they are actually good, and they take on Benfica, who are currently sitting 29th on the log of the UEFA Champions League. And there is also Borussia Dortmund at the Signal Iduna. They are currently 16th with 11 points. Now this is where it gets interesting. They have a +4 goal difference, and Chelsea, who are 13th point, they are 8 on the log, Chelsea are 8 on the log with 13 points, +6 goal difference. So whatever happens in Chelsea's game, and if Dortmund can also win, there is a possibility that they can also go through to the round of 16 proper. So this is where it gets interesting. There is Eintracht Frankfurt against Tottenham Hotspur. This one is also going to happen in Germany. There is Club Brugge against Olympique de Marseille as well. There is Liverpool at Anfield. You know what we call them? The Never Walk Alone boys. During the weekend in the English Premier League, Liverpool actually lost to Bournemouth, and of course it was a late goal in that game. And for Arne Slot, is actually found a new formation that he's using, a 4-2-2-2 formation, which is actually used in his last two games ever since Mohamed Salah also returned from the African Cup of Nations. So it takes on Azerbaijan Giants in Qarabag. For Qarabag in the Azerbaijan League, they are currently second. And this is also getting interesting. There is also Manchester City, like I told you earlier. They are also gunning for this top 8 position for Manchester City. They are currently 11th with 13 points, same point with Chelsea, who occupy the last slot in this game, and they are also on 13 points. That's Chelsea as well. So Manchester City will take on Galatasaray later on today, and of course they will welcome two of their former players. Who are these former players? We'll talk about them in a moment. But our focus for tonight is actually the one that would happen at the Diego Armando Maradona. Napoli against Chelsea. Antonio Conte against his former side, that's Chelsea. And this one is also going to happen by 9 p.m. Nigerian time, which is also going to be interesting as we also wait to see what happens in there. But there are a bit of changes for Liam Rossinier. Later on, we'll let you know what Liam Rossinier had to say concerning this game. That's the game between Napoli and Chelsea. There's also PSV Eindhoven, who will be in action against Bayern Munich. There is Pafos, who will also take on Slavia Prague. And another one we need to watch out for in this match day 8 of the league phase of the UEFA Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain against Newcastle United. I think we need to watch out for this one as well. At the Parc des Princes, this one is also going to happen, and we'll let you know what is going to happen in there as things unfolds. And also, there is Royal Union Saint-Gilloise, who will be in action against Atalanta as well in the UEFA Champions League. And of course, we need to watch out for some of these ones. But like I told you earlier, our main focus is Napoli-Chelsea at the Diego Armando Maradona. And of course, we'll talk much more about that in a moment. But let me quickly let you know that there are some updates coming from Chelsea in this one. And what update is there? We'll let you know at this point in time. Well, we understand that in Naples, plenty of Napoli police are on duty outside the stadium, and about 2,500 Chelsea fans are expected in the stadium, the Diego Armando Maradona, for this game. So, which English side have left to play in the UEFA Champions League? We've got some English teams that will be playing: Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea, and Newcastle. They all will be playing in the UEFA Champions League as we speak right now. And if you're a Chelsea fan, let me tell you for free that one of your player has left Chelsea, and that's Raheem Sterling. Chelsea earlier today announced Sterling's departure, and it leaves Chelsea after 3.5 years ahead of the January transfer deadline. And one thing is there, the thing there is that Chelsea have allowed Raheem Sterling to leave at this point in time. But let's look at the lineups of Chelsea for this game against Napoli. And for Napoli, they are actually an injury-ravaged team at this point in time. They have got series of injuries in their squad. And they believe that despite the fact that there are injuries in their squad, they can still beat Chelsea. They've got all it takes to beat Chelsea at this point in time. And they are prepared, they are ready to go and, of course, beat Chelsea at this point in time. But let's quickly look at the lineups for this game between Napoli and Chelsea at the Diego Armando Maradona. For Napoli, they are making use of a 3-4-2-1 formation, which is subject to change to a 3-5-2 to a 3-4-3 as well. There is Alex Merritt. He's in goal for this one. We've got Giovanni Di Lorenzo, who is also their captain for this game, is there. And there is also another player who is putting on the number 4 jersey for them, and that's Alexandro Bugonio. And there's also Juan Jesus, who is also there for Napoli in that 3-4-3 formation. There is another player in the 3-4-3, talking about the midfielders, Leandro Spinazzola is there. There is Stanislav Lobotka, Scott McTominay, and of course there is also Matthias Oliveira. And in the front three, we've got Antonio Vagara, Elif Helmas, who are behind Rasmus Højlund, who is the lone striker for this game. Like I told you earlier, this Napoli side, injury ravaged side, but good news for Antonio Conte, because their star striker Romelu Lukaku is back. So he's going to face his former side today. Romelu Lukaku, Napoli's number 9, and of course he's on the bench. This should be his first game for Napoli this season. That's Romelu Lukaku, and he's there. Apart from that, other names are not really no names. David Neres is out injured. Rachmani, Matteo Politano, and Giza, Billy Gilmore, Milikovic Savic, the goalkeeper, is out. Kevin De Bruyne is also out of this one. And this is a big one for Napoli against Chelsea. Remember that something is at stake at this point, and that is either making the playoff place or qualifying. That's for Chelsea, qualifying to the round of 16 proper without going through the playoffs. So Chelsea will want to make the top 8 so that they can actually qualify to the round of 16 proper. Now let's look at Chelsea formation, shall we, quickly. It's a 4-2-3-1 formation. Liam Rossinier has actually made use of a 4-2-3-1 formation for Chelsea in this one. There is Robert Sanchez and there is Malo Gusto. Now there is something quite interesting. What is interesting is the fact that Reece James, can you believe that? Can you imagine that Reece James is going to play a centre back in this game? Yeah. So, Reece James is one of the CBs for this one. There is Wesley Fofana, who partners him, and there is Mark Cucurella. Now, hold on there. Do you think that Napoli can actually hold Chelsea to ransom for this one? Maybe just to exploit the opportunities, because Reece James, we know, is a right back, obviously. And he also plays as a DM. But it's quite different playing as a centre-back. It's very, very different. But let's see what Liam Rossinier wants to do with Reece James as one of the CBs, that's the centre-backs for this one. And like I told you earlier, there is Malo Gusto, Reece James, Wesley Fofana, and Mark Cucurella. They are all there for this game. And for Chelsea in the holding midfield, there is Andre Santos, who is one of the holding midfielders for this one. There is Moise Caicedo as well for Chelsea. Now, up front, we've got Pedro Neto playing from the left. Chelsea's number 7 is playing from the left. There is Estaval, who is from the right. And there is Enzo Fernandez behind the striker for tonight. And that's Joao Pedro. And if you look at Chelsea's bench, Philip Jorgensen is there. There is a young player in Max Merrick, Bernard Bandiashio, Jorel Hato, Trevor Chalobah, Josh Achipong. There is Cole Palmer on the bench, Jamie Gittins, Tyrick George, Liam Delap, Alejandro Garnacho as well on the bench for Chelsea in this one. So that's going to be our focus, but we'll promise you that we'll also be giving you reports on all the games in the UEFA Champions League as well. But quickly, let's let you know what Liam Rossinier has to say concerning the game that Chelsea will be playing later on tonight. And Liam Rossinier is looking at what Napoli can do. And in his words, he said, and I quote, "We need to win and deal with the hostile atmosphere." He said, "We have to deal with a really hostile atmosphere, and we have to be brave in the way we go about the game. Realistically, we need to win this game. So I expect it to open up a bit earlier than most games do." That's coming from Liam Rossignol. Another question is, do you think Chelsea can win? Because Rossignol is expecting to win. He thinks the game can open up much more easily. And he also noted that it is an away game and the environment is hostile. So is he trying to say that yes, the environment is hostile, but they can actually beat Napoli tonight? Well, if you ask me, I don't trust Napoli for Enriquez, Amaranalo, Wataru Endo, Train Yoni. This bench is not benching at all. Yeah, that's the words I'm going to use in there. That bench is actually not benching at all at this point in time, because if you look at that bench, it's well, you might also say that injuries have not been favourable to them. Joe Gomez is out, Ibrahima Konate is also out, Alexander Isak, Conor Bradley, they are all out of this game, which has not been good. Not been good for Liverpool. Now, if you also want to talk about Manchester City at the Etihad, I told you earlier that they would want to avoid, that's Pep Guardiola, they want to avoid playoffs. And this is because of the fact that you don't know which team you are definitely going to play in the playoffs. So because you don't know the team that you will meet in the playoffs, so it's very, very important that you actually get to win your games at this point. And so this is for Manchester City. So this is the lineup for Manchester City for this game, by the way. There is Donnarumma in goal. Gianluigi Donnarumma, he actually starts in goal. And for Pep Guardiola, is making use of a 4-2-3-1 formation. At this January transfer window, Pep Guardiola brought in two players, Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth, who is putting on the number 42 jersey for them, and of course there's Mark Guehi, who was also brought in from Crystal Palace. But both of them will not be available for tonight's game. That Antoine Semenyo and Mark Guehi, they will not be available for this one. But of course, Manchester City and Pep Guardiola trust these other players, and that's why he's starting them for tonight's game. Matheus Nunes, and I think he has been the most important player for Pep Guardiola. And why do I say so? Because ever since Matheus Nunes, has joined Manchester City, he has been an utility player for them. Today you see him at right back, tomorrow you see him at left back. He plays as a winger as well. I've also seen him play as an attacking midfielder before. That's Matheus Nunes. I've also seen him play defensive midfield before. So he's a very, very important player for Manchester City, and that's why he starts in goal. There is also Abdulkadir Kuzanov, who is also there. Nathan Ake, and of course Ryan Aint-Nari. It completes the four defenders for Manchester City in this one. Captain Bernardo Silva and Nico O'Reilly are the two older midfielders. While we've got Ryan Cherki coming from the left, no, from the right. Jeremy Doku coming from the left, and Omar Mamouche behind Erling Braut Haaland. And for Galatasaray, this is an interesting lineup for them. Ugukan Kakia is in goal, and of course we've got Roland Salai, who is the right back for tonight's game. So he is there. Roland Salai is actually there, and there is Davinson Sanchez. Remember him. There is also Abdul Karim Badaki and there is also Ismail Jacobs. Ike Gundogan is the captain for them tonight. There is Mario Lemina. There is Yilmaz, Baris Alpa Yilmaz. There is also Gabriel Sara. There is Leroy Sané. And of course, Victor Osimhen for this one as well, which is quite interesting as we wait to see what happens in this game too. So the game between Manchester City and Galatasaray have actually started, but of course it will be interesting as we'll keep you posted on what is ongoing here. But the game between Napoli and Chelsea, it's yet to start, but I will update you on what is currently ongoing. I'm watching that game on my screen right now, that Napoli Chelsea. So all these other games have started. Let me tell you the games that have started at this point in time. Ajax against Olympiacos, Arsenal Kairat, Athletic Bilbao against Sporting CP, Leverkusen Villarreal, Benfica Real Madrid, Dortmund Inter Milan. There is Frankfurt Tottenham that started. There is Liverpool Qarabag. There is Manchester City against Galatasaray. There is PSV Eindhoven against Bayern Munich. There is Pafos Slava Prague and Royal Union St. Galois against Atalanta. They've all started at this point in time. So what I'm going to do today is I'll be updating you on all of these games. Yeah, that's what I will be doing. But just so you know, the one we're watching right now, what we're focusing on right now is Napoli against Chelsea. That's what we'll be focusing on right now. The game is about to start. Chelsea, because Napoli are playing at home with their blue jersey. Chelsea actually with their black jersey for this one, and this is actually getting interesting. So expect much more update from tonight. It's game day in the UEFA Champions League. And yeah, the game has started for Chelsea at this point in time. And of course, yeah, would give you update from there. Well, Chelsea kicked the ball, and yeah, it's an all-star ground, like I told you earlier. And yeah, it is getting interesting. So let me quickly give you the lineups for Paris Saint-Germain against Newcastle, as we'll go back to the Chelsea's game in a moment. For Paris Saint-Germain, they are also open to qualify, and they are the defending champions of the UEFA Champions League. There is Matvei Safonov, a bit of a problem for Napoli early in the game because Di Lorenzo is down after that kick from Joao Pedro, and is still down at this moment. This is not what Antonio Conte will want, because it's early to lose their player. Not just their player, their captain. It's too early to lose him at this point. So he looks worried. That's Antonio Conte. He looks very worried at this point, but I think he should get better. That's Di Lorenzo. Yeah, on my screen right now is Liam Rossinier. People call him Rosemary as well. There have been a whole lot of names that Liam Rossinier has been called. Yeah, that's the collision amongst three players. But of course, it was Di Lorenzo who had the knock in there. But of course, he has been pulled up, but he's still not comfortable. You could see him holding his waist. He's actually holding his waist in there. That's Napoli player and captain Giovanni Di Lorenzo. So, back to the PSG against Newcastle. For Newcastle, they've also been good in the UEFA Champions League this season, but they are also bad travellers. They've been bad, most especially in the English Premier League. They've actually been bad travellers. So let's see what happens in there. But of course, for PSG, they are the defending champions of this one. After about 4 minutes of action in that game, this is what we are seeing. So there is Matvei Safonov, who is in goal for Paris Saint-Germain. And of course, he's a very nice shot stopper. And when I say shot stopper, I mean penalty. That's Safonov. Achraf Hakimi, African best player, is at right back. The captain for the day, Marquinhos, obviously is there. There is also William Pacho or Willie Pacho, whichever one you want to call him. And of course, Nuno Mendes. Joe Neves is there, Vitinha, and of course there is Warren Z. Emery. And we've gone to Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, and there is Bradley Bakola, who is also there. For Newcastle United, Eddie Howe decided to go into this game in a 3-4-2-1 formation. This is quite strange, considering the style of play. It's quite strange, but of course, yeah, let's see what happens in there. So there is Nick Pope in goal. And we've got Malik Thiaw, Sven Botman, and captain for tonight, Dan Bonn. So those are the three defenders for this game. And we've also got Luz Miley as one of the wing backs, and Luz All, Toulouse. They are in there. Sandro Tonali partners Jacob Ramsey as the two older midfielders. There is Joe Willock, Anthony Elanga. Yeah, Anthony Elanga, and of course Neil Walter-Mada, who is the striker for Newcastle in this one. So, Napoli just have a throw in that game against Chelsea, and as João Pedro is chasing the ball down. We've got a goal, by the way. In fact, Barcelona have conceded. Ladies and gentlemen, let me quickly tell you that this UEFA Champions League is interesting. Arsenal are not here to play because Arsenal have it's 1-1. Yeah, it's 1-1 in the game between Arsenal and Kairat. Victor Gyökeres scored first in the second minute of that game. And of course, Kairat got a penalty, and the penalty was converted by JGC Monteiro. JGC, well, that's a big name in there. JGC Monteiro, otherwise called Jorginho. Well, he was the one that scored the goal from the penalty spot. Interesting. In just 10 minutes, 2 goals have been scored at the Emirates. Arsenal won, Kairat won in the UEFA Champions League. But of course, Athletic Bilbao have also scored against Sporting CP. Barcelona, as they always do, they always concede. And of course, they conceded in this one against the Copenhagen as well. You know them. They always concede. That's Barcelona. And of course, they did concede once again in this one as well. And yeah, this is getting interesting. And yeah, the goal came in the 4th minute of that encounter. And the goal was scored by this player from Copenhagen, Victor Jackie Dadison. It was actually the one that scored for Copenhagen in this one. So it's Barcelona nil, Copenhagen 1. I'll give you the lineups in a moment. Another game that we've seen a goal scorer is the game between Club Brugge and Olympique de Marseille. And yeah, the Olympique de Marseille head coach, people don't really the head coach for Olympique de Marseille at this point in time, that's Roberto Di Zerbi. For all it takes, people don't really rate him as the head coach at this point in time. But of course, this is getting interesting, and we'll wait to see what happens in there. So Club Brugge have actually scored against Olympique de Marseille at this point in time. And one thing about Club Brugge is the fact that Rafael Onyedika, you know him, Nigeria midfielder. He was with the Super Eagles of Nigeria in their games at the African Cup of Nations. He was quite instrumental for them as well, and he is there at this point in time. That Club Brugge against that's against Olympique de Marseille at this point in time. And we've also seen a goal in the game between Paris Saint-Germain and Newcastle United. And guess who scored that goal? Vitinha actually did score that goal. for PSG in this one. Yeah, at the second minute, the penalty was awarded to PSG after Bradley Barcola was fouled. Guess what? The world best player was given the opportunity to score, but of course, he missed that opportunity to score. But Vitinha was actually saved him at this point in time. So it's 1-0 in favor of PSG against Newcastle United in there. And another game that we've seen a goal scored in that game. Yeah, that's just it. So these are where we've seen goals. Arsenal Kairat 1-0. Athletic Bilbao Sporting CP 1-0 for Athletic Bilbao. There is Copenhagen who are currently beating Barcelona. And this one is interesting. Yeah, quite interesting. And wait to see what Barca have got installed for us. There's Club Brugge against Olympique de Marseille. There is also Manchester City. Yeah, Manchester City have also scored against Galatasaray. And guess what? It was Erling Haaland who scored those goals. Let me actually see the goal rush in the Barca's game against Copenhagen. Yeah, I have the goal rush with me. And yeah. Oh, this was how... yeah, I've actually seen how Copenhagen scored against Barcelona at this point in time. The eye-line for Barca. The eye-line has actually owed them down at this point in time. Now let's focus on the Napoli-Chelsea game. Let's see what happens in here. So I'll actually give you live commentaries as well. And not just that, also update you on some certain things that is actually going on. Enzo Fernandez is with the ball at this point in time. And he's found Estevao. This is a 1-2. Reece James, who is playing as one of the centre backs. Estevao with the ball. Back to Reece James. Was also found is a partner at the CB. Reece James to Estevao. Still Reece James on the ball now, as Chelsea are actually playing really well for this game. And Napoli have decided that they're going to sit back, relax, and watch how this one pans out. João Pedro. Still him. And he's looking for who to give. And finally he found Estevao, who wanted to cross, but of course Napoli have gotten... Napoli defended that one very well. And Chelsea have gotten a corner in this one, which was quickly taken by Estevao once again. And they've wasted that one. They've actually wasted that chance. And of course, Alex Merritt actually caught that ball in there. So, in the UEFA Champions League at this point in time, this is getting interesting. And let me also tell you that because of the goals that we've seen, the table has actually changed. Yeah, it has. It has actually changed. So, Arsenal are still on top. They've gotten 22 points at this point because they're playing a 1-1 draw against Kairat. Bayern Munich, second with 19 points. PSG have now climbed up to third with 16 points. Same point with Real Madrid, who are fourth with 16 points as well. Due to the fact that Real Madrid are still goalless, the game against them, between them and of course Benfica away from home. So it's still goalless for Real Madrid at this point in time. And there is Liverpool, who are currently fifth. Liverpool have gotten 16 points in there. Manchester City, who have actually scored sixth with 16 points as well. And there is Tottenham, who are also seventh with 15 points. And Chelsea are still eighth with 14 points by virtue of the goalless draw that they're actually playing with Napoli as we speak right now. So Chelsea are currently 8th. Sporting CP have climbed to 9th. Atletico de Madrid are 10th. There is Atalanta were 11th. And before this game, Newcastle were in top 8. But fortunately for them, they are 12th right now. And that's the beauty of the UEFA Champions League. Napoli has a chance here, but of course, it could not trouble Okay, there's a quick counter attack that we're seeing right now between Esteval and João Pedro. Yeah, he's in the box. Of course, he found. Okay. It didn't materialize to anything good. But Chelsea are still with the ball. They've been playing very well. Yeah, from what I'm seeing, they've actually been playing very well. And this is beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Cucurella. Rhys James with the ball right now. Okay, the 1-2 didn't work out fine. And Chelsea have lost the ball as we speak right now. Okay, I'm seeing another change because Liverpool have climbed to third. So it actually means that Liverpool have scored. Let me confirm if Liverpool have scored. Yeah, Liverpool have scored against Qarabag. So it's Liverpool 1, Qarabag 0 at this point in time. Now, what is wrong with Liverpool and injuries? Jeremy Frimpong is out of this game already. And he got out in the 4th minute of that game. Wataru Endo plays for them. I'm actually gutted for Liverpool at this point in time because these injuries has been much. And of course, Jeremy Frimpong, I just feel that they've actually wasted their money in getting Jeremy Frimpong because he hasn't been fit. One bit. He hasn't been fit. Interesting because Club Brugge have actually scored another goal. So it's Club Brugge 2, Olympique de Marseille 0. Manchester City 1, Galatasaray 0. And there is also Leverkusen who have actually scored Villarreal. By the way, Villarreal have not won any game in the English Premier League. Did I say English Premier League? In the UEFA Champions League this season. So they've actually not won any game. They've gotten 1 point. That's Villarreal. But of course, Bayer Leverkusen actually beating them at this point in time. So all the best to them because it's quite interesting what we are actually seeing. So in this game, what we'll notice is that there will be major changes in the standings. Major changes. Like I told you earlier, Liverpool are now third. And Arsenal have actually scored the second goal. So Arsenal are winning right now 2-1 against Kairat. And of course, guess who scored for Arsenal? Kai Havertz. Man is back. And of course, he's back among the goals. Arsenal really do miss him at this point in time. And that's why you see that he's back banging in the goals for Arsenal at this point in time. So, yeah, there is a yellow card in that game as well as Calafiori have actually gotten a yellow card. But this is a beautiful game for Arsenal. Do you know why? Kai Havertz is back, and of course he has scored 1 goal. He has also had an assist, so he was the one who delivered that assist for Victor Gyökeres to actually score for Arsenal in there. So it's Arsenal 2, Kairat 1. But of course, Athletic Bilbao have pulled 1 goal back. Yeah, so it's 1-1 between Athletic Bilbao and Sporting CP. Pardon me, Bilbao scored first and Sporting CP actually equalized Diomande equalized for Sporting CP in there. So it is now 1-1 in that game as we speak right now. And so also Copenhagen against Barcelona, it is still 1-0 in favor of Copenhagen against Barca. And yeah, this is getting interesting as we speak right now. And in the game against Pafos and Slava Prague, not really interesting. It does not interest so many people. But of course, one thing is quite sure that Pafos have actually scored against Slava Prague as we speak right now. And Chelsea have scored a goal against Napoli. That's something I can also tell you at this point in time. So it's Chelsea 1, Napoli 0, and it's a penalty that Chelsea have actually scored. Enzo Fernandez scored that penalty for Chelsea against Napoli in here, and this is getting interesting as well. So it's Napoli 0, Chelsea 1 in the UEFA Champions League, and Chelsea will be on 16 points right now. So it's getting sure that Chelsea would qualify to the round of 16 proper as it stands right now. But let me see how the penalty actually went in. Yeah, I'll have to see how it went in. But just so you know, Chelsea have actually scored one goal against Napoli as we speak right now. So Enzo Fernandez is about to play the penalty. And I'm watch it. I just want to see how it actually went in. But maybe the goalkeeper went the wrong way. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, he followed. The goalkeeper followed it. But of course, Enzo Fernandez have actually scored, and Chelsea will be basking in that euphoria that they've actually gotten a goal for Chelsea. That's Enzo Fernandez. And of course, it was an handball incident in the penalty box that Juan Jesus actually committed, and he was given a yellow card for that situation as well. And Enzo Fernandez did score that goal and celebrated. And of course, Antonio Conte is jittering at this point in time, asking questions, seeking for explanation as to why that was a penalty. But for Chelsea, it's quite good because they've actually scored now, and this is interesting as we speak right now. So Chelsea have climbed to 6th on the Champions League log because they've gotten 16 points, same points with Napoli, well actually 7th. Romelu Lukaku is actually drinking the waters at this point in time because, yeah, he's facing his former side, but of course his current side are currently losing at this point in time. And one thing you need to also know is that Liverpool have scored the second goal at this point, so it's Liverpool 2, Qarabag new, and of course it was Florian Wirtz who actually got that goal for Liverpool as well, as this is interesting. Now cross comes in for Napoli. Oh my God. Oh my God. Napoli have decided to start playing at this point, but Chelsea have scored. So they should be able to hold on at this point. Alright. Let me switch game from the Chelsea game and see what is actually happening in the Dortmund Inter Milan game as well. Like I told you, we'll be updating you on what is currently going on across various venues. At the Signal Iduna Park, currently it's goalless as we speak right now as well. Yeah, PSG are beating Newcastle. And there is Liverpool. Well, currently beating Qarabag by 2-0 in there. But as it stands right now, Barcelona have no answer whatsoever. This is interesting because Barca are losing to Copenhagen at Camp Nou. Cross comes in for Qarabag, but of course they could not make it count. That's for Qarabag. They could not make it count at this point in time. But of course, Liverpool are beating Qarabag at this point in time, 2-0. Florian Wirtz, the man that I just said that he's not been good enough for Liverpool, but he has actually scored for Liverpool as well. And yeah, this is interesting, what is currently ongoing. And Atletico de Madrid have also scored. So Atletico de Madrid are beating Bodo Glimt by 1-0. The same Bodo Glimt who defeated Manchester City 2 weeks ago in the UEFA Champions League. Entering Frankfurt, Tottenham Hotspur, it's goalless. Club Brugge, Olympique de Marseille, 2-0 for Club Brugge. Ajax Olympiacos, goalless. Athletic Bilbao Sporting CP 1-0. Perforce beating Slavia Prague by 1-0 as well in there. And let's see what happens coming from there. And of course, Leverkusen have also scored against Villarreal too. So it's Leverkusen 1, Villarreal 0 at this point in time in the UEFA Champions League. Let's go back to Napoli against Chelsea. Now, switch off play. Quick counter-attack from Chelsea, and Napoli back to the other half of their side. Cucurella. Now there's a 1-2, but of course Estevao has missed the ball, and of course it's with Napoli at this point in time, as Napoli are deciding to see what they can actually do with the ball. Maybe press Chelsea high, and if possible, get an opportunity of getting a goal. But at this point in time, they're finding it difficult to have this 1-1-1-2 string passes together. That's Napoli. And now the ball is with Chelsea as well, as Chelsea now want to try and dominate. Malo Gusto, Reece James. Back to the goalkeeper. Now it's quite interesting what we're actually seeing from Chelsea at this point in time, because Estevao, João Pedro, has been fouled, and João Jesus once again. Remember that he's on yellow card at this point in time, João Jesus, after that handball incident in the box. Now Liam Rossignol passing few instructions to Chelsea, as we can see right now. Reece James standing on the ball to play the free kick. But of course he has left it for Santos. Cucurella. Neto. Throw in for Napoli. Okay, that was Enzo Fernandez with Giovanni Di Lorenzo. So it's a throw-in to Napoli, as Di Lorenzo is with the ball right now, João Jesus. And of course they are doing this 1-2 pass together. And for Napoli, they want to try to get Rasmus Højlund much more involved in this one. The Manchester United star on loan at Napoli at this point in time. And we also understand that it's over between him and Man United, because Man United are prepared to let him go. So Napoli should be getting him during the summer transfer window. There you go, 56 ball possession to Chelsea, 44 to Napoli. We're also finding it difficult to string 1-2 passes together. Is that a foul on a Napoli player? Yes, it is. Scott McTominay plays quickly. Alex Merritt. Yeah, Napoli are still doing 1-2 passes, but they are unable to actually. Okay, now there's a quick counter attack. Is it on play? Yes, it's on play. Cross comes in, but yeah, they could not do anything with it at this point in time. So I asked the question earlier that do you think Napoli can actually exploit the possibility of scoring via Reece James? You know, he's actually one of the CBs for this one. I think this is my first time I've seen him play as a CB. Well, he might have actually done that before, whatever I can tell. Yeah, the corner comes in, and of course, Robert Sanchez saved that, and of course, he actually made a quick throw to Pedro Neto, who ran with the ball, but of course, it was unsuccessful. And so, he has slowed down a little bit. Chelsea with the ball. James. Pedro Neto. And he has an opportunity of scoring, but of course he wasted that opportunity, all thanks to that beautiful save from Alex Merritt. And the follow-up from João Pedro, he could not do anything with it as well. And Enzo Fernandez add one or two words with Pedro Neto in there. Yeah, that was a very, very important save from Alex Meret. As Napoli out with the ball at this point in time once again. Yeah, this is quite interesting. It has actually been one interesting game. Have I been bored? I don't think I have. And I know for sure that you too, if you're also watching the game, you're not bored too. But this is an opportunity for Napoli. As they're actually having this 1-2 pass at the edge of Chelsea's penalty box. Cross comes in, looking for Scott McTominay, but of course, nothing could be done in there. So an opportunity. Now there should be a corner kick for Napoli in there. Giovanni Di Lorenzo. And of course, he has actually been a tough player for Napoli as well. And Napoli are actually seeing how important the player is for them. So who takes this corner kick for Napoli? 30 minutes of action gone already in this game. And yeah, this is interesting. No. It was actually wasted. As the goalkeeper actually caught it. That's Chelsea's goalkeeper, in Robert Sanchez. Enzo Fernandez. Santos. Rhys James. Cucurella. Fofana. James. Robert Sanchez with the ball. Fan Cucurella. Now Cucurella might have miskicked, but of course the Chelsea player to the rescue in there. And of course he's going to thank his stars that this is quite beautiful what is actually happening. Now Chelsea have been actually impressive in this game. Esteval. Still Esteval. And a bit of cross, but of course nothing could happen. And of course Alex Meret came out and he saved this one as well, which is also quite interesting. Giovanni Di Lorenzo is still struggling with that a little bit knock that he had early in that game. That's Giovanni Di Lorenzo. And yeah, this is the replay of the ball. He nearly scored for Napoli. But of course it was quite saved by Chelsea, which resulted in that corner kick. But yeah, this is interesting. Interesting what we're seeing in here in this game. Let me quickly check if there are a bit of update coming from this game between Napoli and Chelsea. Like I told you earlier, Chelsea are currently 6th on the log, 16 points, same point with PSG, Manchester City, and Atletico de Madrid. They are all on 16 points. Atletico de Madrid, by the way, are the team occupying the last round of 16 slot. Automatic qualification to the round of 16. So there is Arsenal, Bayern, Real Madrid, Liverpool, PSG, and Chelsea, Manchester City, and Atletico de Madrid. But I think Napoli have equalized. By what I'm seeing, I think they have equalized. So, yeah, I think so. I think they have equalized, but yeah, we'll update you if truly they have. Yeah, they have equalized. And who did equalize for Napoli? I would try to find out in a moment. But of course, this is still what is happening on the field of play between Napoli and Chelsea. I'm seeing 1-1, so I'll just have to wait to see how the goal actually went in and who scored. Okay. Play continues. How on earth did that go in? Like, what was that defense for? No, I said it earlier that if you have defense, how can you put Reece James as one of the CBs and of course Fofana? Now it's actually 1-1, quite 1-1 between these two of them, and Napoli are actually celebrating at this point in time because yes, it's 1-0 between them and Chelsea. But that goal was actually a beautiful goal, by the way. And I ask myself, what on earth is that defense? Like, how do you watch that? Santos have actually cleared the ball already. It fell back to this Napoli player who pushed the ball forward. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my God. That is a defensive shamble. Very, very defensive shamble in there. That's not a good one. That's not a good one for Chelsea. Barcelona are still yet to score Copenhagen at this point. And there's Athletic Bilbao who are actually beating Sporting CP by 2-1 as well. Yeah, this is quite interesting what we are seeing in this game. Bayer Leverkusen have actually scored the second goal. And so it's Bayer Leverkusen 2, Villarreal 0. And it's also the same player who actually scored, Malik Tillman, who got the goal. The question is, where is Chelsea at this point in time after that one, after the equalizing goal scored by Napoli? Chelsea are currently 8 on the log, back to 14 points, as we are seeing us now on top, followed by Bayern Munich, followed by Real Madrid, who I think have also scored. What's happening? Real Madrid, have they equalized Real Madrid? Okay, it's 1-0 between Benfica and Real Madrid as well. So Real Madrid scored first, Kylian Mbappe scored first. The question is, where would Real Madrid have been right now without Kylian Mbappe? Nowhere. That's the question. But of course, they scored in the 30th minute and Benfica equalized in the 36 minutes of that encounter. So it's 1-0 between Real Madrid and Benfica as we speak right now. And so this is actually getting interesting. Bodo Glimt have also equalized against Atletico de Madrid. So it's goals galore as we speak right now. Bar the PSV Bayern Munich game, Real Union Saint-Golo against Atalanta, Dortmund Inter Milan, the others. Ajax Olympiacos, AS Monaco Juve, we've actually got goals in the other games. Well, VAR is actually checking the situation in the game between Arsenal and Kairat as we speak right now. But I think Arsenal have just scored the third goal. But I will update you because I'm not seeing that game, but I actually will update you on what is actually happening in there. Gabriel Martinelli have scored a goal, and that goal has been awarded. So it's Arsenal 3, Kairat 1. Safe to say that Arsenal will go unbeaten in the league phase of the UEFA Champions League. Safe to say that Arsenal are the best team in the UEFA Champions League as we speak right now, because you cannot play 8 games, win all, and you're not the best team. So, yeah, I can say that Arsenal confidently tell you that Arsenal are the best team in the UEFA Champions League this season. 8 games, 8 wins. They've been impressive, by the way. So, Napoli won, Chelsea won. What we've seen so far, interesting 38 minutes of action in the UEFA Champions League. Now, the Chelsea game has actually been kind of interesting. Yeah, kind of interesting. Chelsea are still 8th, so they've gotten 14 points. The only thing that will make them drop out of the top 8 is if they are being beaten at this point in time. because Chelsea have gotten 14 points. Same with Atletico de Madrid, who have also gotten 14 points as well. And Atalanta, who have also gotten 14 points too in this one. And yeah, this is interesting what we've actually seen so far. Now, Chelsea have an opportunity of a quick counter-attack. And they're moving with the ball. Cucurella. Enzo Fernandez. Finds Caicedo. Caicedo to his James. And they're streaking this 1-2 passes together in there. Cucurella, Pedro Neto. Now, Pedro can run with the ball, as he's looking for who to actually give at this point in time. Yeah, he found a partner in crime in there in Cucurella. Enzo Fernandez. Pedro Neto. Still Neto. Now Enzo Fernandez once again, the goal scorer for Chelsea. Caicedo. Switch of play to the left. Switch of play to the right as Napoli now have the ball after it was missed by Chelsea's number 27. And, of course, they're right back as well. But I've actually seen some improvement with Napoli. Maybe because the goal that they've actually scored has actually boosted their confidence a little bit. We never can tell. But of course, this is a sign of improvement. Shot comes in! But of course, it's a waste of a shot in there. Now, Napoli's goal scorer actually tried that long range shot from distance. But it could not worry Reece James at this point in time. And right, it's actually out of play. Yeah, 1-1 in this game between Napoli and Chelsea. And we've actually seen some signs, some improvements, some interesting things in there. But of course, we just wait to see if Chelsea can actually score as Pedro Neto runs with the ball and found Enzo Fernandez was also giving the ball to Cucurella. Caicedo. Santos. Enzo Fernandez. Miscalculated. As Scott McTominay is with the ball and he can thrive. Di Lorenzo. Juan Jesus. And Napoli are also trying to do 1-2 pass in there. And which they've actually succeeded in doing at the point. But of course, now Chelsea are with the ball. Reece James. Fofana. Caicedo. Takes it on. Finds Pedro Neto, who keeps the ball in play. As he's also going to run Pedro Neto with the ball. Cucurella. Santo. Caicedo. Santos again. Reece James. Lavia. Sorry, Esteval in there, but of course that also could not reach Pedro Neto. Something quite interesting was also going on in there. But it's still 1-1 as we speak right now. No change yet. But of course we see what happens as these things are unfolding. Now, beautiful, beautiful scene. What is currently happening in that game. Yeah, I can tell you for free that Napoli have scored the second goal against Chelsea. That's what I can tell you. This is what I can tell you for free. That Napoli have scored the second goal against Chelsea. Now, how did Chelsea falter? How did they collapse that much? Just so you know, I would see how that goal came in. I'll definitely see how that goal came in. So this is going to be interesting. Okay. Wow. Come on. Well, when the time is right, I'm also actually going to give you my halftime analysis of this game and what I've actually seen so far. Yeah, I'm giving you my halftime analysis and what I've actually seen so far. But, man, this is a beautiful goal. Rasmus Højlund scores against Chelsea. The Man United man. And of course, he scored against Chelsea at this point in time. Now, this defense is not defending. I don't understand what is actually going on in here. But that defense, I don't know. I don't know what to say because that defense, I said it earlier that this defense is not one key defense because they don't actually understand what is actually going on between the two centre backs, Reece James and Wesley Fofana. Now look at it. All of them slept off. And of course, Rasmus Højlund in this one proves to be one big striker. But all the best what is actually happening. Yeah, this is interesting. And yeah, I would have to check the table for you right now because what I'm seeing shows that Chelsea should be out of the top 8 as we speak right now because Napoli are currently beating them by 2-1. So let me confirm right now where Chelsea are currently. Oh boy, they are currently 12th on the log of the UEFA Champions League. 12th on the log. So, if all things being equal, they will be making do with the playoffs. Yeah. And Napoli, who have also scored, now are 19th on the log as they've gotten 11 points in there. That's Napoli. Yeah, this has been the story of the UEFA Champions League as we speak. But one thing is quite sure that Arsenal and Bayern will finish top 2. I'm sure that one is certain. They will finish top 2. But we're still going to see changes in the Liverpool, PSG, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Tottenham, Atletico de Madrid. There are going to be a lot of changes as things goes on in this one. So we expect a whole lot of changes here. And once again, that Højlund's goal was a beautiful goal. So this is going to be, will this actually be Liam Rossignol's first loss for Chelsea? Or first loss as a Chelsea head coach? Only time will tell. So we've got some extra minutes in this game as Napoli, moves. Yeah, free kick to Napoli. After Malo Gusto. Is it Malo Gusto? Yeah, I think it should be Malo Gusto. Now, who was given a yellow card? One of Napoli's assistants was actually given a yellow card here. Yeah, one of Napoli's assistants was given a yellow card. Now, Mose Caicedo fouled the Napoli player. Yeah, he was the one who committed that offense. But I don't think this one resulted into a goal. They could see Antonio Conte on the sidelines giving instructions to the Napoli players. Quite interesting that Bayern Munich have also not scored because I think they should have scored at this point, but quite interesting that they've not scored. That's Bayern Munich. But of course, we are seeing some interesting updates in there. Yeah, of course, it's going on well. It's halftime in that game between Napoli and Chelsea. So as we speak currently, this is what is on board. Now it's halftime across all. Let me confirm if it is across here. except for Benfica Real Madrid. Other games, halftime already. Other games, it's halftime. So in a moment, I would actually tell you my takes on some of these games that I've seen so far, most especially the Napoli Chelsea, and what to also expect as these things actually goes on, which is all interesting. Now let's start from Ajax Olympiacos. Well, nothing to say at the Johan Cruyff Arena. Nothing to say because Ajax and Olympiacos, they've actually been below par. We've actually seen below par performances from both of them. But what is quite sure is that Ajax have actually scored. But of course, the goal was actually cancelled in there. That's Ajax. They've actually scored. But of course, the goal was also cancelled. So this is interesting. What is currently ongoing coming from there. And for Ajax Amsterdam, they are currently, yeah, I think both of them goes nowhere. Both Ajax and Olympiacos, if anything does not change. Olympiacos are 28th with 9 points and Ajax are 32nd with 7 points. So if anything does not change at this point in time, we see the fact that both of them are actually going home. So that means that the game is no longer important, whatever happens in there, because of the goalless draw that they're actually playing. So I don't think anything is really happening that will make it much more interesting for them. There is also AS Monaco against Juventus as well, as AS Monaco are currently also playing out a goalless draw against Juventus as well. That is in the UEFA Champions League 2. Arsenal have scored 3 goals against Kairat. Now, one thing about Ajax Amsterdam for this one is the fact that Arsenal, not Ajax. Arsenal have scored 3 goals against Kairat. Now, one thing that is interesting about Arsenal in this one is the fact that Arsenal have been one of the best. Let me not say one of the best. They've been the best team in the UEFA Champions League this season. No one comes close. Arsenal have been the best. No one comes close at this point in time. And that's what we're actually saying. And there is also, Athletic Bilbao against Sporting CP. Athletic Bilbao are currently winning by 2-1 as well. Atletico de Madrid playing out a 1-1 draw against Bodo Glimt. And for Barcelona, I don't know what is actually wrong with Barca. I don't think I've actually know what is actually wrong with Barca. I've not been able to see that game quite well. But one thing is quite sure that Barca losing to Copenhagen by 1-0. I saw the goal that Barca conceded. And again, it's one of the islands that have actually kept. And you know how they do it. They keep islands and you ask yourself, the way they keep these islands, it's not have been impressive, but of course they were made to suffer as the goal came in early in the game, the 4th minute of that encounter, and it has actually not been a good one for Barcelona. Let me actually look at the lineups quickly for Barca. There is Garcia, obviously. He is the first choice goalkeeper for them at this point in time. And they've actually been making use of a 4-2-3-1 formation in there. Jules Koundé, Kubasi, Gerard Martin, Alejandro Balde, Garcia, Dani Olmo, Lamine Jamal, Fermin Lopez, Rafinha, and of course Robert Lewandowski, who also starts for them. But that's actually not been an easy one. Yeah, it hasn't been sort of easy, but we hope to see what happens in there as the game unfolds. And there you go. You can also see all of the scoreline on your screen right now. Yeah, you can see it on the screen right now. What is currently ongoing in there. Like I said earlier, there is yeah, what we see in there. Wow. I just noticed that Benfica scored 2 goals against Real Madrid in the first half. Yeah, that was a penalty incident, which was actually scored by this Benfica player in Vangelis Pavlidis. He actually got that goal for Benfica, and that was in the 45th plus 1 minute of the game. And so, what does that mean? It actually means that Real Madrid find themselves in position number 5 with 15 points. But I think it's safe to say that Real Madrid also qualifies to the round of 16 straight up without necessarily going through the playoffs. I think it's safe to say that Real Madrid qualifies because if we look at the table right now, they've gotten 15 points. That's Real Madrid. So I think it's safe to say that they qualify to the round of 16 no matter what happens in the other games. Except if Tottenham Hotspur score against, I think they're playing against Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, that's if Tottenham Hotspur scores. And if Tottenham scores, they should be able to move up to 17th. And that can take them to 4th. That's Tottenham Hotspur. That is a should they score. Now let's talk about Chelsea and Napoli. I watched that game. I saw that game, and it has actually been one interesting one. Chelsea started brightly, and they actually piled up much more pressure on Napoli. And before that handball situation happened, and of course, Napoli player Juan Jesus did add that penalty incident, and the goal was scored by Enzo Fernandez. But ever since then, ever since the goal, Napoli found a way of coming back into that game. And they dominated. Yeah, they dominated before Antonio Vergara actually scored. Now, the way and manner Vergara scored that goal has been something that, you ask yourself, the backline of Chelsea, what were they doing? Like, how did they allow that goal to come in? Because when the Mateus Oliveira gave that assist for Vergara, when he gave that assist, I was like asking myself, like, what were they looking, and how did they allow that goal going? And it was also the same manner they actually considered the second goal, the Rasmus Højlund goal as well. It was also the same manner in which they considered that goal too. So, you're playing a right back as a centre back. You can play a midfielder as a centre back, and sometimes it works out fine. But in a 2 CB system, a back 4 system, and this player is not more or less like, he hasn't been playing a back 4 before as a CB. You ask yourself, why did Liam Rossinier try to do that? But you might actually say maybe because of the fact that, well, let me look at the Chelsea bench once again and see who are there. The defenders that are there. There is Chalobah, who always starts. There is Josh Achepong. Yeah, you might say that. There's also Bernard Badiashile. Well, you don't trust him for nothing. You can trust Bernard Badiashile as well. But there is Trevor Chalobah. So Chalobah is on the bench, and you start Rhys James as a CB to partner Wesley Fofana. And that's why you see that at the point in time, the defensive setup was not all that. And Napoli actually dwelled on that, and of course they exploited that, and we could actually see what happened at the end of the day. So Napoli, yeah, thumbs up to them for actually finding a way to score 2 goals against Chelsea at this point, because that has also given them the opportunity of being at least in the playoff spot. They are currently 19th. That's Napoli, 11 points from 8 games. Yeah, and that's Napoli, and they're currently winning by 2 goals to 1. Another team that have actually been impressive is Liverpool. They are beating Qarabag. Yeah, it's Qarabag, but yeah, you don't have to take anything away from them. If you are a good team, yeah, if you're a good team, you should be playing in the Champions League, and that's what they've actually done so far. Other teams that are not playing in the Champions League are Manchester United. You definitely know that they are not a good team for now, presently. Forget about the fact that they defeated Arsenal by 2 goals to 1. They're not really a good team because they're not playing in the Champions League. The best of the best plays in the UEFA Champions League. And of course, yeah, for Liverpool, defeating Qarabag by 2 goals to 0, beating them right now, it's something that is quite good. But you also have to look into the fact that Florian Wirtz has actually scored in this game, which is quite good. And of course, Alexis McAllister also scored in this game as well, which is quite good for Liverpool too. And one thing that Arne Slot has actually done very well is to switch from that 4-2-2-2 formation that he's been making use of. Switching from that 4-2-2-2 formation that he's been making use of, and this is quite a good one in there. So he's made use of a 4-2-3-1 instead of a 4-2-2-2, and yeah, that has made Florian Wirtz come alive, and of course McAllister, and there is Ugo Ekitike, who's actually had an assist in this game as well, and not forgetting Virgil van Dijk, who's also had an assist in this game as well. And yeah, Liverpool are currently winning by 2 goals to 0 in this one. And there is also Paris Saint-Germain. But one thing you need to know is that Paris Saint-Germain have actually been poor. Very poor. Very, very poor in the UEFA Champions League this season. And maybe this is what also happened last season as well in the UEFA Champions League. They were also poor during the league phase. Before, I remember that Arsenal defeated them in the league phase last season in the UEFA Champions League, before they went all the way, and of course also beating Arsenal to the final before they actually defeated Inter Milan at the final as well. And I remember that final was not, it was just a one-sided final too. But of course, it's quite interesting. After Vitinha scored for Paris Saint-Germain, Joe Willock equalized. That was in the 45th plus 2 minutes of that game. And that made it 1-1 for Paris Saint-Germain against Newcastle in there. So this is also interesting, what we've seen so far. And yeah, we cannot just wait to see what happens in there. So ahead of the second half, we expect much more action. We expect maybe much more goals as well in there. And there's Manchester City, who was also beating Galatasaray, Erling Haaland and Raya Cheki also in there. So I think a game should have started back in the UEFA Champions League as we speak right now. Yeah, one game has started, and that 2 games have started currently. Frankfurt against Tottenham, they've started. The second half has started, and USG, that's Union Saint-Gilloise against Atalanta as well. They've also started. Apart from that, we're waiting for other games to start at this point in time. But Frankfurt against Tottenham Hotspur, it's still goalless as we speak. Tottenham are 6th on the log, and Frankfurt, yeah, they are beautiful, because Tottenham Hotspur have just scored. Yeah, I can confirm to you that Tottenham have just scored. So what it means that they just came into the game for the second half and Tottenham have scored. Yeah, 1-0 in favour of Tottenham Hotspur at this point in time. So Tottenham here have scored. Liverpool have also entered the game back. Manchester City as well. There is PSV Bayern Munich. There is Slavia Prague. And I told you about Union Saint-Gilloise against Atalanta earlier. And yeah, all other games are pretty much the same. as we wait for the official second half. Dortmund against Inter Milan, they are back also onto the field of play. So we'll wait to see what happens in that game as well, as Chelsea are about to kick off for the second half at the Diego Armando Maradona. The players are back into the field of play. This is the Napoli players who are also back at this point in time, as we wait to see what happens in there. Enzo Fernandez is having discussion with his teammates as well, as they don't want to go into all these issues of the playoffs. If they can actually qualify to the round of 16 like that, then definitely they will be happy to actually qualify to the round of 16 straight up like that. But as we speak right now, it is not going to happen because they are currently losing to Napoli, and that's Chelsea, by 2-0. Well, this is Almond 94.3 FM, and of course we are live on our YouTube at this point in time, doing wonders for the last match day of the UEFA Champions League, which is the league phase coming from there. So, officially, Napoli have restarted the game. So, it's Napoli 2, Chelsea 1 at this point in time. But, of course, this is getting interesting. So, we'll tell you what is going on as things unfolds coming from there. And you expect it to be one amazing match, one amazing matchup as things progresses. Free kick to Chelsea as Enzo Fernandez was fouled by a Napoli player in this one. Cucurella. And that's Enzo Fernandez. And that was fouled by Di Lorenzo. Cucurella. Santos. Reece James. Still Reece James. And has found Wesley Fofana. Now this is a big free kick there, as João Pedro has been fouled at this point in time. Now this is getting interesting, what we're actually seeing coming from there. Liam Rosenio is also having a word, fuming on the stands, as he does not understand what is actually going on. But yeah, we just wait to see what happens in there. Dortmund Inter Milan, it's still goalless. Club Brugge, Olympique de Marseille, 2-0 win for Club Brugge. Tottenham have scored against Frankfurt, I told you earlier, and the goal was scored by Randall Kolo Muani. And of course, Christian Romero, the captain of Tottenham Hotspur, actually had an assist in this one. But another game that has actually been quite quiet is PSV Eindhoven against Bayern Munich. Goalless between these two sides. There's actually been a rather quiet game for the two of them. But we wait to see what happens as things goes on. There's PSG, Newcastle. We're also playing a 1-1 draw at this point in time. Now Chelsea are attacking once again. The way they started the first half, they started the second half also on the front foot. But Napoli are quite resilient at this point in time. And they've stolen the ball, an opportunity for a quick counter-attack, but which was stopped by... That's Wesley Fofana. And of course, it wins a free kick as he was fouled by the Napoli player. So Chelsea have taken the free kick quickly. Cucurella, Santos, Wesley Fofana, Sanchez, Reece James, Santos, finding Joel Pedro, but of course, yeah, still with the ball. Opportunity for Chelsea to actually make a quick counter attack. Pedro, still him. Switch of play to the right. As he was actually looking for Cole Palmer, who, by the way, was brought in at halftime. That's Cole Palmer for Pedro Neto. Santos. Yeah, and the Napoli goalkeeper now have the ball at this point, so this is getting interesting. After that change made by Liam Rossegnon, the game is still 2-1 in favor of Napoli at the Diego Armando Maradona. And whatever happens, well, we wait to see what happens in there, by the way. But whatever happens, I think Chelsea would not want to play playoffs, because when playing playoffs they don't actually know which team they actually can play at the playoffs, so they still want to do everything to qualify top 8 and go to the round of 16 proper. Now, that was an handball situation in that game, but of course Napoli have gotten the ball at this point. 51% ball possession to Napoli, 49 to Chelsea. As officially we are 51 minutes gone. Yeah, you could actually say 52 minutes gone in the English Premier League for this one. Barcelona have equalized against Copenhagen. And maybe, just maybe, we could actually say the floodgates of goals will be open at this point in time at the Spotify Camp Nou between Barca and Copenhagen in this one. But just so you know, it's 1-1 between these two sides. Barcelona against Napoli. Now 51 minutes gone there, so I quickly want to switch to Spotify Camp Nou to see what is currently ongoing in there. But Barca are still keeping that eye line, and that's what I can see with this few seconds of play in this game. Barca are still keeping the eye line. And Liverpool have scored the third goal, by the way, so it's Liverpool 3, Qarabag 0 at this point in time. Safe to say that Liverpool have actually won this one. Guess who scored? Mohamed Salah have actually scored for Liverpool. Liverpool 3, Qarabag 0. And they are still going tough. Liverpool still wants to score more. They're not stopping Ugo Ekitike with the ball right now. Fine Szoboszlai, but nothing could be done. Well, despite the fact that Walter Endo came in late early in the game for Jeremy Frimpong, Liverpool have pushed the fact that they've got injury worries aside, and they are actually thrashing Qarabag at this point in time. But 3 goes to Salah. Oh boy, he missed that, and that would have actually been a wonder goal if Salah have scored that. But it did not happen. And it will be ruining that missed chance, by the way. That was a beautiful shot from Mohamed Salah, but he did not score. Another opportunity for Liverpool to score, to make it 4. But of course, they've missed that on that opportunity as well. It's still 1-1 at the Spotify Camp Nou between Barca and Copenhagen. Yeah, 1-1 between these two sides. As Benfica are also currently beating Real Madrid at this point in time. There is Manchester City also beating Galatasaray. Napoli beating Chelsea by 2-1. And Pafos beating Slavia Prague by 2-1 as well. Why is Bayern Munich not scoring any goal? They are yet to score. This is unlike Bayern Munich. Remember that during the weekend as well, Bayern Munich actually lost. And I think that was to Wolfsburg. But yeah, Napoli actually doing justice to this game. Taking the game to Chelsea. I don't know what Chelsea have got to do right now to actually maybe just come back in this one. Because as it stands right now, they are out of the top 8. And they are in the playoff position as we speak right now. So let's look at the standings once again, shall we? And talking about the standings at this point in time, we've actually got Arsenal who are in goal. So Arsenal are in goal as we speak right now. And Arsenal are top, pardon me. Arsenal are top as we speak right now with 24 points. Bayern Munich are second with 19 points. Liverpool are third with 18 points. Tottenham are fourth with 17 points. There is Manchester City who are fifth with 16 points. Real Madrid are sixth with 15 points as well. And there is Paris Saint-Germain who are seventh with 14 points. Newcastle are eighth with 14 points as well. Barca ninth with 14. Atletico de Madrid are 10th with 14 points. And there's Atalanta who are 11th with 14. Inter Milan 12th with 13 points. There's Chelsea who are 13th with 13. Sporting CP are 14th with 13 points. Juventus are 15th with 13. There is Dortmund who are 16 with 12. Leverkusen 17th with 12. There was Athletic Bilbao, Olympiacos, Napoli who are 18th, 19th and 20th respectively with 11 points. And we've got Galatasaray who are 21 with 10 points. Club Brugge, Qarabag and AS Monaco completes the playoff position with 10 points each in this one. So this one will be praying, these ones, they would actually be praying that things remains the same as we speak right now. But for Chelsea, if they can actually score one more goal, I think they will be on 14 points too, and they should be above Barca, who are currently ninth. And Barca will also hope that they can actually at least get a goal to make it 2-1 and climb the top 8 as well. But all in all, this is getting quite interesting in this game. Now let's go back to this Napoli game against Chelsea, because this is quite interesting. Chelsea are still with the ball. Esteval, Enzo Fernandez, Joao Pedro, Cucurella in space, Cole Palmer as well, but it didn't work out well for the two of them. And of course, Napoli are actually enjoying this ride. They are enjoying the moment. And all of this is getting quite interesting as we wait to see what happens between these two sides. And of course, Chelsea once again will be praying, definitely praying that they score one and have an opportunity of actually making it to the round of 16 without having going through the playoffs. So Chelsea are on 13 points currently, as they are also 13th on the log as well in the UEFA Champions League. Bayer Leverkusen have actually scored their third goal against Villarreal at this point in time. They just scored the third goal as we speak right now. So it's Bayer Leverkusen 3, Villarreal 0 at this point. But wait for confirmation to see if there's going to be Malek. If it's going to be, okay, it's Alex Grimaldo who actually scored the third goal for Bayer Leverkusen in this one. So it's Leverkusen 3, Villarreal 0 at this point in time. Bayern Munich have also scored, so it's a good news for most fans as Jamal Musiala scored for Bayern Munich at this point, and it's 58 minutes on the clock when he got that goal, and that's Bayern Munich. But one thing is also quite interesting is the fact that we've gotten a red card situation in here, because a Slava Prague player was just red carded in the game against Pafos at this point, and it was a professional foul for last man. That was the reason why he was actually given that red card in there. But Pafos are actually beating Slava Prague by 2-1. PSG won, Newcastle won as well. Man oh man, Benfica have scored the third goal against Real Madrid. So it's Benfica 3, Real Madrid 1 at this point. And the first goal scorer, Andres Skeldenrop, actually scored the third goal for Benfica in here. safe to say that Real Madrid might lose this one. Maybe, just maybe, because Liverpool have scored the 5th goal. Massive in here. Because I think from the live comment here, I saw a comment in there that actually noted that Liverpool are going to beat Qarabag by 5 goals to nothing. And it's 5. It's 5. It's 5. As Barca have also scored the 2nd goal as well. Let me see how the 4th goal for Liverpool came in. Sorry, the 5th goal for Liverpool. Dominic Szoboszlai's cross. Another corner situation. Okay. Well, I'll get to see that in a moment. But of course, Barcelona have actually scored the 2nd goal against Club Copenhagen, pardon me. And it's McAllister who actually scored the 5th goal for Liverpool in here. And seems Lamine Yamal has scored for Barcelona. So it's Barca 2, Copenhagen 1. That has been the story for Barca this season. The way they do things. That has been their story. Come on. That's a beautiful goal from Liverpool's point of view. And that's a beautiful goal from McAllister as well. Making it 5. 5 for Liverpool against Qarabag. And Chelsea have also equalized against Napoli, so it's 2-2 in this one between these two sides. So it's Napoli 2, Chelsea 2 at this point in time. And João Pedro got that goal for Chelsea. Let's see how the goal came in. Oh, what a beauty. What a beauty. And Chelsea have, it's now 2-2 between them. So Chelsea should be back on 14 points. But at this point in time, they are 10th on the log. That's Chelsea. And they are not on the top 8 position because Barca have moved to 5th. And Barca have gotten about 16 points in there because they've actually scored the 2nd goal, which is making them to win at this point in time. But for Real Madrid, they are down to 7th. And if PSG should score, or Newcastle should score, one of them, Real Madrid will actually go to 8th. And if Chelsea also should score, making it 3, then that means that Chelsea would also climb up and Real Madrid drops down. But this is getting interesting. Getting really, really interesting. PSG Newcastle, it's still 1-1. Bayern Munich beating PSV and Eindhoven 1-0 away from home. Manchester City beating Galatasaray 2-0. Tottenham beating Frankfurt 1-0. Club Brugge beating Marseille by 2-0 as well. And Real Madrid have scored the 2nd goal against Benfica. So it's Real Madrid 3. Sorry, it's Benfica 3, Real Madrid 2. Who else? Who else than Kylian Mbappe was actually scored the 2nd goal for Real Madrid at this point in time once again? The big question is, where would Real Madrid be? Where would they be without Kylian Mbappe this season? Kylian Mbappe has actually been their savior. Saved them from a whole lot of blushes this season at this point in time. Rasmus Højlund have just missed a chance for Napoli. And for João Pedro, this is his 2nd goal in 6 matches in the UEFA Champions League. And yes, they've all been an interesting one at this point in time. I think Chelsea have actually made a change as well for this game, as I'm seeing Trevor Chalobah on the field of play. Let me confirm. But while we wait for the confirmation of the sub, yeah, Trevor Chalobah, Jeremy Gittins have all come in for Malagusto and Andre Santos. So it's 2-2 between these two sides as we speak right now. Napoli 2, Chelsea 2 at the Diego Armando Maradona. It's goalless between Dortmund and Inter Milan as well, as Liverpool are still beating Qarabag by 5-0 in here. USG, that's Royal Union St. Galloy, also playing out a goalless draw against Atalanta. 65 minutes of action in the game between Napoli and Chelsea. In fact, it's 66 minutes gone already between these two sides as well. Arsenal still beating Kairat by 3-1. Olympiacos has scored against Ajax Amsterdam. But of course, there is a VAR situation in this one as well for the 1-2. Because it seems as if there is an issue in the game between Ajax and Olympiacos. But we'll wait to see what happens in there as the video assistant referee is checking Ajax's situation in here. Arsenal beating Kairat by 3-1. And this is quite interesting as well at the Wanda Metropolitano, because Atletico de Madrid are currently losing to Bodo Glimt by 2-1. So it's Atletico de Madrid 1, Bodo Glimt 2. Bodo Glimt have actually shown that they are not here to play, most especially after beating Manchester City not quite long ago in matchday 7. And right now, they are also beaten Atletico de Madrid away from home by 2-1 in here. But for Chelsea against Napoli, it is 2-2 as we speak right now in that game. Yeah, Joe Pedro's got the goal for Chelsea, and of course, which was assisted by Cole Palmer, who came in for this one. And this is a bit of change that Liam Rossinier has actually made at this point in time. And the major change is bringing out Malo Gusto, and Rhys James have gone in to right back. And another change also was Trevor Chalobah coming in to partner Wesley Fofana in the center of the defense. And of course, the Enzo Fernandez dropping deep after Andre Santos was removed. So Enzo Fernandez is dropping deep for an opportunity for Cole Palmer to move up front. Estevao is still there. Jamie Gittins also there as well. But of course, there is Joe Pedro, the goal scorer, who is still playing as a number 9 for this one. So, opportunity for Napoli at this point as things stands. But I can tell you for free that in the game between Ajax and Olympiacos, the video assistant referee has actually given the goal for it was a penalty situation. Awarded a penalty by the video assistant referee. And of course, Dolberg, who had his goal cancelled earlier in this game, Kasper Dolberg, well, he has scored from the penalty spot after the penalty was awarded by the video assistant referee. And of course, Ajax Amsterdam won, Olympiacos won in the UEFA Champions League. Athletic Bilbao are also playing out a 2-2 draw against Sporting CP. And Barcelona have scored the third goal against Copenhagen at this point. And it was a penalty from Rafinha, and that made it 3-1 at this point in time. Yeah, Rafinha, the captain for Barca in this one, got a penalty. And of course, it's 3-1 in there for Barca against Copenhagen. And Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, number 10, number 11, both of them also making duo with the celebration. That's both of them. They're quite happy. Yeah, the penalty once again. Yeah, the keeper went the right way. But of course, the power, the precision, the accuracy of the penalty made it quite difficult for him to make a save. He did not make that save. But of course, beautiful, beautiful scenes in there. Still 2-2 in the game between Napoli and Chelsea, as Napoli are holding on to the ball. And maybe, just maybe, if they cannot score the winning goal, maybe they can hold this one dear. And that was a very beat-off save from Chalobah, because it was almost a goal. Spinazzola put a cross in. Almond chasing the ball. And of course, Trevor Chalobah saved that. And have considered a corner kick in this one. Still 3-2 for Benfica against Real Madrid, as Benfica will be hoping that they can actually get the save in this one. And Bayern Munich have also still scored. But of course, we've gotten a goal in Belgium. Royal Union Saint Galois have scored against Atalanta. So it's Royal Union Saint Galois 1, Atalanta 0 at this point in time. Atalanta, another team that is struggling in here. A player is down for Napoli. Seems to be Almond. Or is this Scott McTominay that is down? Yeah, we saw this one once again. The Spinazzola ball, which went for a corner kick. And Antonio Conte has really not been impressed with what he's seen so far. We see some man who is dejected. And most especially with Scott McTominay, star man, who is struggling at this point in time due to a knock on the field of play. Manchester City still beating Galatasaray by 2-0 as we speak right now. Ball possession, Napoli 51 points, Chelsea 49%. Possession, by the way. But of course, Chelsea are still holding strong. Still holding firm at this point in time. So, what we do know is that the only game in the UEFA Champions League tonight that we are yet to see a goal scored is the game between AS Monaco and Juventus. This is the only game that is yet to provide a goal scorer for this game, for this one. But yeah, this is getting interesting, quite interesting, what we are seeing so far across other venues. Ajax 1, Olympiacos 1, Arsenal 3, Kairat 1, Bilbao 2, Sporting CP 2, Atletico de Madrid 1, Bodo Glimt 2, Barcelona 3, Copenhagen 1, Leverkusen 3, Villarreal 0, Benfica 3, Real Madrid 2. And there is also Dortmund Inter, who is also yet to produce a goal at the Signal Iduna. So Dortmund Inter Milan, they're also playing out a 3-2. A goalless draw, pardon me, at this point in time. Yeah, it's a goalless draw between these two sides. And there's Club Brugge, who are beating Olympique de Marseille by 2-0. Tottenham Hotspur have actually scored against entering Frankfurt by 1-0. Liverpool beating Qarabag by 5-0. Manchester City beating Galatasaray by 2-0. Napoli playing out a 2-2 draw against Chelsea. And that's the main game that we are focusing on at this point in time, because Napoli might be in trouble. Esteval! Free kick to Napoli. Yeah, free kick to Napoli at this point in time. There's PSV are also losing to Bayern Munich by 1-0. PSG playing out a 1-1 draw against Newcastle. Pafos beating Slavia Prague 2-1. And there's Real Union Saint Galois against Atalanta in there as well. Esteval is out for Alejandro Garnacho at this point in time, as Garnacho is in for this game. So let's see what Garnacho will have to do. Maybe, just maybe, it will be the match winner for Chelsea against Napoli. As it stands, it's goalless. Enzo Fernandez as Napoli player is down. And the referee has brought the game to a halt at this point for a few moments. And a yellow card also has been awarded to a player. I think it's Helmers that was yellow carded in here. Is it? Yeah. It is yellow carded. But of course, about 77 minutes of action gone already. Player seems still down. For Napoli, most especially. That's Scott McTominay, who seems to be down at this moment. Still struggling with the injury situation. No, I don't think it's Scott McTominay. I think it's Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Now, this is Aurelio De Laurentiis, the Napoli president, who is also in the stands watching this game. Watching how his team actually playing this game. And saying so far that maybe, just maybe, they might not qualify. Yeah, they might not qualify. They might not even make the playoff spot. That's Napoli. Because they are currently 28, and should they want to make a playoff spot, they will need to win by all means. Di Lorenzo is in tears, big tears at this point in time, crying, shedding tears, because he might be injured at this point in time. And Antonio Conte does not even seem to know what he's going to do at this point in time. Yeah, this is game over. Game over. I think so. He's had the issue at the first half. Had some small issues at the first half, but right now he's walking out of the field. And Napoli might be looking forward to make a change as we speak right now. Yeah, they might be looking forward to making the change. And let's see what happens. Yeah, let's see what happens from there. We'll keep our fingers crossed and wait to see how that one actually goes through. How that one pull through. But just so you know, it is still goalless between these two sides. Napoli. Sorry, it's 2-2 draw between these two sides. Napoli against Chelsea. So Liverpool have scored 5. Will Qarabag yet to respond to any of them? And for Arsenal, the 3 goals they scored in the first half, it still remains the same as we speak right now. Scored first to Victor Gyökeres. JCG Montero equalized, otherwise you call him Jorginho as well. The equalizing goal came from the penalty spot in the 7th minute of that encounter, before Kai Havertz scored in the 15th minute, and Gabriel Martinelli also scored another one. And just so you know, some changes have been made. Odegaard came in for Kai Havertz at the beginning of the second half. And there is also Nkampie, who came in for Calafiori as well. And there is a young gun in Brando Bailey Joseph, who came in for Gabriel Martinelli. And right now, Gabriel Jesus also in for Victor Gyökeres. Interesting times ahead in the UEFA Champions League, as Olympiacos have also scored another goal against Ajax Amsterdam in this one. So it's Ajax 1, Olympiacos 2 at this point in time. Now this one is interesting. The goal came in the 79th minute of that encounter. 80 minutes gone already in this game. Olympiacos 2, Ajax 1. Or you would say Ajax 1, Olympiacos 2, due to the fact that Ajax Amsterdam are playing at home in this one, while for Olympiacos, they're actually playing away from home. These two all that Napoli and Chelsea are actually playing as we speak right now is not a good one. Doesn't seem good for Napoli because Napoli, as it stands, are going home. And PSV have also equalized against Bayern Munich, so it's 1-1 as well as we speak right now. Benfica, I think, are also on their way home as well. Because as it stands right now, Benfica are currently 26th. And you know what? From 25 to 36th, they are all going on. But this is an opportunity right now for Romelu Lukaku because he's on the sidelines at this point in time and almost ready, getting set to come on and face his former side in Chelsea. So Napoli are now trying to do everything that they can to make sure that they at least score one more goal so that they can actually find themselves back into contention for the playoffs. 50% ball possession between these two sides. But there's currently a misunderstanding between the lineman and a Chelsea player in Cucurella, and obviously the Napoli player as well. So as it stands right now, these teams are going home as Chelsea, I understand, have actually scored another one as we speak right now. So I understand that Chelsea have gotten the third goal as we speak right now. So Chelsea should be back up there. Yeah, Chelsea have actually got the third goal. So Chelsea should be back into the top 8. They should be back into the top 8 as we speak right now. So Napoli are losing this. Romelu Lukaku has entered as Elmas and Spinazzola are coming out for Romelu Lukaku, and of course Buekema, who also comes in as well. But one thing is sure, that Chelsea actually winning this game, and of course it's Joao Pedro who got the goal in the 82nd minute of that encounter. So a few seconds after ex-Chelsea player Romelu Lukaku came in, or the changes were made, Chelsea currently have scored what we can actually call the winning goal. Now that's a beautiful goal, by the way. That's a beautiful goal in there. A big, beautiful goal as this thing keeps on going forward. Joao Pedro, that's a goal. That's a beautiful goal. So as it stands right now, Napoli are also on their way home. Liam Rossignol is yet to lose a game as a Chelsea head coach. Chelsea are now back to 6th and Real Madrid are 8th in there. If Inter should score, Real Madrid will be out of the playoffs, of the top 8, pardon me, and they will have to make do with the playoff position. So these are the teams that are out, that are going out as we speak right now. These teams that are currently going out: Benfica, Athletic Bilbao, Perforce, Royal Union Saint-Gilloise, PSV Eindhoven, Napoli, Copenhagen, Ajax, Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Villarreal, and Kairat. They are all going out. For Villarreal, 1 point. Kairat, 1 point. Napoli, 8 points. But for Chelsea currently winning. They've gotten 16 points in this one. And this is a beauty for them. Napoli 2, Chelsea 3 at Diego Armando Maradona. But Barcelona have actually scored the fourth goal as we speak right now. But it's 2-2 between Athletic Bilbao and Sporting CP. Leverkusen still beating Villarreal by 3-0. And Inter Milan have scored against Borussia Dortmund. I told you so. That Inter beating Dortmund will actually mean that Real Madrid will be out of the automatic qualification spots to the round of 16. Because Inter Milan just scored now, and the goal was scored by Federico Di Marco in the 80th minute of that encounter. Napoli have no answer. Scott McTominay, no answer at all at this point in time. As Chelsea have dominated. Yeah, you might actually say because the possession is 50-50, but of course Chelsea, yeah, to some extent have actually dominated this game. As they're beating Napoli as we speak right now. Barcelona, like I told you earlier, beating Copenhagen, who scored the fourth goal for Barca. Of course, it is Marcus Rashford who got that goal for Barca in there. The goal was scored in the 85th minute of that encounter, as the game is in the 87th minute as we speak right now in there. Liverpool still beating Qarabag by 5-0. Bayern Munich have also scored another goal. So it's Bayern 2, PSV Eindhoven 1. Yeah, a beautiful one in there for Bayern Munich. As Harry Kane have actually scored a goal. PSG still playing out a 1-0 draw against Newcastle United. And Pafos have trashed up Slavia Prague by 4-1 as we speak right now. A player down. A player down for Chelsea. And I think that's Cole Palmer, yeah. Cole Palmer is down for Chelsea as we speak right now. For those in Naples, the Napoli faithful are currently seeing how difficult it is for them right now because as we speak right now, they are going home. But for Tottenham Hotspur, they've actually scored the second goal and they are currently in the 89th minute of this encounter. Dominic Solanke got the goal for Tottenham Hotspur. So it's Frankfurt 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2 in there. And Club Brugge have also scored another one against Olympique de Marseille. Club Brugge beating Olympique de Marseille by 3-0. That's the story of Marseille in the UEFA Champions League this season. So in every game today we've gotten goals except the AS Monaco game against Juventus. And for AS Monaco against Juventus, the goal hasn't been common. No goal yet between these two sides. But for Juventus, they are currently 13th with 13 points. AS Monaco are 21st with 10 points as well. And they will have to make do with the playoff spot. But Chelsea will be happy that they won't have to play the playoff. Because by virtue of that goal that they actually scored, they are in the top 8 of this right now. Inter Milan are currently 9th with 15 points. Yeah, because they are beating Borussia Dortmund by 1-0 at the Signal Iduna Park. And guess the goal scorer, Federico Di Marco, who got that goal in the 80th minute of this encounter. So there you go. Copenhagen have scored the second goal. So it's Barca 4, Copenhagen 2. Liverpool have also scored the 6th goal as we speak right now. They are demolishing Qarabag by 6-0. Of course, it was Federico Chiesa who got that goal in the 90th minute of this encounter. And this is a beautiful one in there between these two sides. And this was how Copenhagen scored. A beautiful header. And they got the goal. Federico Chiesa, quite happy that he has actually scored the 6th goal for Liverpool in this one. And of course, Arne Slot also relieved. Very happy that they've actually scored much more goals in this one. Has actually beaten Qarabag by 6-0. A player down for Chelsea in here. As Liam Rossignol is about to bring in Bernard Bandashil. João Pedro nursing pains on the sidelines. He's feeling the effect of the kick. And of course, Enzo Fernandez have helped him up. Of course, João Pedro, what a player he has been tonight. 2 goals scored. And this is a beautiful one. So I think Napoli are bringing out Rasmus Højlund at this point. I think so. No, it is Jamie Gittins who's actually coming out. Jamie Gittins, that's Chelsea who are making the sub. And Bernard Badiashile comes in for Jamie Gittins. Now you ask yourself, why the sub? What type of sub was that? Well, Liam Lawson knows what he is doing. Well, Copenhagen's goal have been chalked off by the video assistant referee for a foul on a Barcelona player. So the goal has been cancelled by the VAR. So everything is now back to 4-1. Copenhagen, Barcelona 4, pardon me, Copenhagen 1. And this is 90th minute gone in this game. Ajax losing to Olympiacos 2-1. AS Monaco playing out a goalless draw against Juventus. Arsenal beating Qarabag by 3-1. Athletic Bilbao playing out a 2-2 draw against Sporting CP. Bodo Glimt doing the unthinkable. Bodo Glimt doing what most people thought they could not do, as they beating Atletico de Madrid by 2-1. Barca beating Copenhagen 4-1. There is Lyon Leverkusen also beating Villarreal by 3-0. And Benfica currently beating Real Madrid 3-2. Despite the fact that they are beating Real Madrid by 3-2, they are going nowhere as we speak right now, because they've got 9 points, and this is not enough for them to go through. Club Brugge also beating Olympique de Marseille. But of course, 2 games have been concluded already, or 3 games have been concluded already. Frankfurt against Tottenham Hotspur. Frankfurt lost to Tottenham Hotspur by 2-0. Tottenham winning away from home. There is Liverpool who also defeated Qarabag by 6-0. And there is Royal Union St. Galloy, who have also won over Atalanta by 1-0. But we'll wait to see what happens in the other games as we speak right now, because these games is getting interesting and interesting and interesting as they goes by. Well, I think it's safe to say that Napoli are going out. Safe to say that this might be over and over for them. Yet another game have been concluded, and that's PSV Eindhoven against Bayern Munich. Bayern eventually beating PSV Eindhoven by 2-1. Jamal Musiala scored first in the 58th minute of that encounter, before the equalizing goal came in from Ismail Saibari in the 78th minute for PSV Eindhoven. And yeah, Harry Kane scored as Luis Diaz added the beautiful assist for Harry Kane to make it 2-1. Game over. And that game finished. PSV 1, Bayern 2 in the UEFA Champions League. Kairat also scored 2 goals, but Arsenal actually defeated them by 3-2. The goal came in late, 90th plus 4 minutes for Kairat. Arsenal won 3-2. 8 wins in 8 games, 24 points for Arsenal as they defeated Kairat by 3-2. AS Monaco has also ended. It's goalless between AS Monaco and Juventus, as both of them have also qualified, but they did qualify to the playoff spot. They made the playoff spot after playing out a goalless draw in this one. So this is getting interesting as we wait to see what happens in there. The game between Bayer Leverkusen and Villarreal have also ended by 3-0. A big win, big win for Villarreal. PSG also ended in a 1-1 draw. Like I told you earlier, USG, that's Union Saint Galois, defeated Atalanta by 1-0. Napoli still losing to Chelsea, but it's safe to say that it's over for them. Dortmund also lost to Inter Milan by 2-0. Bayer Leverkusen defeated Villarreal by 3-0 as well. And Ajax defeated Olympiacos. Ajax lost to Olympiacos by 2-1. Currently, Athletic Bilbao are losing to Sporting CP 3-2. Yeah, the goal came in late, very, very late in this one, as Santos got the goal, and the goal came in from Alisson Santos for Sporting CP as they defeated Athletic Club. Now Chelsea are going with the ball, Garnacho, and of course it's a throw-in for Chelsea at this point. Napoli's coach, Antonio Conte, knows that this is over for them. He's definitely aware that it's over for them. Now it's full time. Chelsea have defeated Napoli by 3-2. And that is the end of Napoli's time in the UEFA Champions League this season. Well, should they qualify for the next edition, they will see each other again next year. But for now, it's game over. Napoli 2, Chelsea 3 in the UEFA Champions League, pardon me. But we'll wait for other games to be concluded, after which we'll tell you officially the final league standings of the UEFA Champions League. But just so you know, top 2 remains unchanged. And the top 2 is Arsenal, while the second place team is Bayern Munich for this one. So the top 2 remains unchanged. Celebration, jubilation for Chelsea because they've actually made it. And for this time around, they will not be participating in the playoff spot. It is straight to the round of 16 by virtue of that win. Chelsea scored first through Enzo Fernandez from the penalty spot. Vegana equalized. Højlund scored, and he thought it was the winning goal before João Pedro scored in the 61st and the 82nd minute to hand Chelsea that decisive victory and sent Napoli packing in the UEFA Champions League. Pafos still beating Slavia Prague by 4-1. Real Madrid still losing to Benfica by 3-2. These are the only 2 games that is being played in the UEFA Champions League as we speak right now. The only 2 games being played in the UEFA Champions League as we speak right now. Now there is a red card situation in there. A red card for Real Madrid right now. A red card. And this game is going into 5 minutes of added time. Now Pafos have also ended their run in the UEFA Champions League as they also defeated Slavia Prague by 4-1, which was also a beautiful, beautiful game for them, winning by 4-1. But of course, it's also game over for them at this point in time. That's Pafos. They are currently 26th on the log, or let me say they finished 26th on the log with 9 points. And yeah, this is interesting. Real Madrid still playing against Benfica. And Benfica are winning by 3-2. Real Madrid getting red carded in this one. And depending on what happens, I think this is how everything is going to end. This is how it's going to be. And this is the official standings in the UEFA Champions League. These teams have qualified to the round of 16 in the UEFA Champions League. And just so you know, Real Madrid will be playing in the playoff spot because Sporting CP have managed to qualify to the round of 16. Arsenal, top, 24 points. Bayern, second, 21 points. Liverpool, third, 18 points. Tottenham, fourth, 17 points. Barcelona, fifth, 16 points. Chelsea, sixth, 16 points. Sporting CP, seventh, with 16 points as well. Manchester City, 8th, with 16 points. There's Real Madrid, who is 9th, with 15 points. They are currently playing And maybe if they can get the equalizer, they will go back to 8 and Manchester City drops. There is Inter 10th, PSG 11th, Newcastle 12th, Juventus 13th, Atletico de Madrid 14th, Atalanta 15th, Leverkusen, Dortmund, Olympiacos, Club Brugge, Galatasaray, AS Monaco, Qarabag, and Bodo Glimt with Olympique de Marseille are all through to the playoff spot. Benfica, Pafos, USG, PSV Eindhoven, Athletic Bilbao, Napoli, Copenhagen, Ajax Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Villarreal, and Kairat have all crashed out of the UEFA Champions League as we speak right now. They've all crashed out of the UEFA Champions League. Benfica are still beating Real Madrid, and we just wait for the official full time in this one to see what actually happens in there. But of course, this is beautiful game in this one, as Benfica are still beating Real Madrid. But one thing is sure, that this is an interesting UEFA Champions League game. What a night it has actually been in this one. A night of massive games in the UEFA Champions League. And you've also been with us for massive 2 hours, which has also been an interesting 2 hours of action. Of course, Benfica still beating Real Madrid as they are fighting for survival as we speak right now. Of course, we wait officially for the time when this game will be concluded in the UEFA Champions League. Now, this is what we're seeing. Benfica still beating Real Madrid by 3-2. Nothing is over yet. But we'll wait to see when it will be over. How soon it will be over in this one. Well, Raul Asensio got the red card for Real Madrid for a foul, which was also the second yellow card in this one. But of course, we'll wait to see what happens when the central referee will blow his final whistle and we'll see how BY is in here. But of course, we're still waiting. Benfica have scored the 4th goal. Beautiful in here. Benfica getting the 4th goal. And maybe, just maybe, they can go through. Just maybe they can go through. But one thing is sure, Benfica have gotten the 4th goal. Yes, they are 24th right now on the log. So it means Olympique de Marseille will be coming on. What a story. What a day. What a night it has been for Benfica. They will never, ever forget this night. Jose Mourinho, what a game. But one thing is sure, that they've actually scored and it's over. It's game over in this one. Let's see how the goal went in once again for Benfica. It's a corner. Yes! I think it's the goalkeeper that actually scored that goal. Yes! It is the goalkeeper that I think scored that goal. And of course, Mourinho is jubilating, celebrating. It's game over right now as the game finished in favor of Benfica. Benfica won by 4-2 and they managed to make it to the playoffs. What a game. And Real Madrid players are all over the referee at this point in time. As the referee has said, don't worry, it's over at this point in time. And this is a beautiful story. Beautiful story in here. So once again, top 8. Arsenal, Bayern, Liverpool, Tottenham, Barca, Chelsea, Sporting, and Manchester City. While the other 16 will be playing in playoffs. Real Madrid, Inter Milan, PSG, Newcastle, Juventus, Atletico de Madrid, Atalanta, Bayer Leverkusen, Dortmund, Olympiacos, Club Brugge, Galatasaray, AS Monaco, Qarabag, and of course, Benfica. And this was made possible. This was made possible because of the goal scored by the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper scored that goal. Antonin Trubin, he scored the goal for Benfica in this one. A beautiful header, and it is what it is at this point in time. Thank you very much for being with us for the last 2 hours. It has been an interesting one. It has been an interesting ride, and we cannot just thank you well enough. To all of you who have stayed with us, this is the UEFA Champions League night. Until we see you once again, have a wonderful night rest, and bye for now.